Hit second gear. Yeah, it's losing all the pressure. We can try a couple things on it, but that's not really good, honestly.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody, and welcome back to another video. And this is a sad video because the Lamborghini has broken 1.5 months into my glorious dream purchase of my first supercar ever, and exactly what I expected to happen has happened. So I have been mentally prepared for this since the day I made the decision to buy a used supercar, and especially an older one. I really thought I would get more than 1.5 months out of this thing, but I was wrong. And I promised all of you that I would bring you along on the ride with my supercar and the experience, all the good, bad, and the ugly, and now the bad has kicked in. And spending so much time last night on Google trying to research what possibly it could be, it turns out it could either be a faulty door switch that's making my e-gear transmission system think that the door or the hood is open, or the bonnet, whatever the hell you call it, or, which is $20, or it's a $20,000 e-gear actuator. And knowing how my life works, this is probably going to get very exciting for me, for sure. But there are options out there that are a lot cheaper than that, but still, it's a significant expense. But had I bought the Huracan for $250,000, I would still be $150,000 worse off. So first, I'm gonna go get my second vaccine shot today to add more misery to this experience. But I'm going to take you with me today because I figured some of you out there might be curious, and some of you are absolutely against the vaccine for whatever reasons you have. I respect, and I'm good with it, but I have a responsibility to my family and everyone I work with to take every possible precaution I can and get this shot. So I'm going to take you all with me. Then we're going to go back to the house, and I'm going to show you what the car is doing, and maybe someone out there in YouTube land can give me some insight before I haul this sucker into the shop and then pray every minute it's there that it's something minor and cheap, because I was gonna put the exhaust on it very soon, and that was gonna be pretty expensive. So all right, let's go get this damn shot.
And I don't wanna die, but your poison feels so right. Why do I want you when you're bad for me? My perfect storm, my beautiful catastrophe. My perfect storm, my beautiful catastrophe.
Okay, already started, ladies. You're shooting?
Yes, I am.
I'm not ready to get shot.
Everybody is that comes in here.
Yeah.
You know,
Let me know before you give me the shot so I can prepare myself.
Ready?
You already do it?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, you guys are awesome. That's it? I'm out? Before you got my little card? All right, so last time I felt great, felt confident, felt strong. Came, sat down in here, thought it was no big deal, and then spent 5 days with a fever and fatigue. So today, hopefully, will be the beginning of a much smaller reaction than last time. So we got to sit here for 20 minutes and then get back on the road. I'll catch you guys back at the house. We'll talk about my broken Lamborghini.
Several days later.
All right, we're back at the house. I'm going to show you what went wrong with the Lamborghini. After 1.5 months of ownership, this happened on Saturday night with a large crowd around me of kids who were using this car as a backdrop for their prom photos. So thank goodness a lot of them went back in, but there were still a lot of them out there, and the car would not go into gear. And you can only imagine the pressure I was under to leave gracefully rather than embarrassingly, and I was able to get it in gear and drive it just fine, and I'll show you what it's doing. Start her up. Now, when I was at that event, you're supposed to put the foot on the brake, pull the paddle, and that's what happens. And it's supposed to go into first, not do this. Which means I can't go into first. So I'm stuck, go into reverse, same thing happens. I'm stuck, and the panic ensued. But then, as panic ensued, I decided to hold down the paddle, and that would get it, if I hold it down, to go into first. As long as I push the gas now, while holding the paddle, it'll go. But that comes up because I believe it's resetting. But I don't want to do that, so hang on a second. Put it back in neutral, hold it in reverse, so I'm leaving, take this thing to the shop right now. And I've got to hold that down, get into reverse, and then go, and I'm good. Now I'm in reverse, everything's cool. Came up with a little warning. I'm gonna pop the lift. And it drives perfectly fine now, which is very strange. Got full reverse. Whoops. And everything's good. Go back to neutral. And everything's fine. So that is a problem. Now we're going to drive it to the shop, and I'm going to tell you this story about how to find a mechanic for a Lamborghini, and we will drop it off and hopefully have an answer soon. If not, then it'll be another video where I'll share with you what's wrong with it and the actual cost. So we'll find out. We're gonna head to the shop now, and let me just tell you the excitement about finding a shop to get your Lamborghini fixed here in Orange County seems like it would be a no-brainer, because Orange County has a lot of Lamborghinis. So apparently there's only about 4 or 5 shops that work on these that are pretty well known and, from what I can find, very reputable. And one of them is the dealership. So when I called the dealership on Monday morning, it was a less than pleasurable experience. I didn't feel like they were happy to hear from me and excited about doing business, or even had a good feeling about the customer relationship, because when I started to tell the guy what was wrong with the car, he immediately said, "You didn't tell me what the year and make is." And I said, "Okay, well, it's a 05 Lamborghini Gallardo." And he said, "Well, we don't diagnose cars over the phone." And I said, I'm not asking you to diagnose the car over the phone. I want to know if I can drive it to you based on your many years of experience working on Lamborghinis, if it's safe to drive, because it's probably only 4 or 5 different things. And are any of those things going to cause further catastrophic damage? And here's what's happening. He says, all I can tell you is it's going to be $900 to diagnose it. And I said, okay, that's okay. I understand that. I don't mind paying for that. But what about the, the appointment? When do you have time? And he says, it's 2 weeks away before we can get you in. Okay. Already I'm feeling like this guy just doesn't want me to bring the car in there, maybe because it's older and they like working on the newer ones or something, I don't know. But I just said, okay, thanks, I'll get back to you. And then I did some research, and I found in the city I live in, there is a Lamborghini Ferrari mechanic that has a phenomenal reputation, like right down the street from my house. Of all the places, I've lived here for 15 years, and I would have never expected that there would be a Lamborghini repair shop in the middle of Yorba Linda, California, of all places. And I pulled up just to check it out, and it was beautiful, gorgeous, eat off the floor, clean shop, just amazing. So that was such a relief. So today's Friday, this all happened on Saturday night. I'm going to drop it off and hope that it's something minor. Now here's the things based on what I found on Google. And by the way, if you've ever had like a pain in your side, or something where you just didn't feel right and you Googled it, you probably know what I'm talking about. You'll figure out that you either have cancer and a month to live, or it's just a sprain or a cramp or gas. It's always one of the two. So when I Googled what this could be based on what's happening with the car, I found that it could either be a $25,000 part or a $2 amount of e-gear fluid. So you can imagine where my head goes. Well, it's a $25,000 part, and I'm done with this supercar experience if that's the case. So that's terrifying, because only a month and a half in, if it turned out to be something that big for me, that's a, you know, and I have the money to solve problems, but it is not good. So this is what happens when I stop, where normally it... All right, the camera cut off, so I don't know when it cut off, but bottom line is I stopped at a light and this thing popped out of first gear, and I just had to hold it down again and then go. So we're gonna go drop this thing off at the shop now and hope it's something small, and if it's not something small, something huge, let me know how much you would give me for my 05 Lamborghini. I'm kidding. I prepared myself for a repair financially and mentally. When I bought the car, I just didn't expect it would happen so fast. So let's at least keep my fingers crossed, and either way, it should be some good information for me out there with one of these cars or thinking about buying one of these cars. But let's go drop this thing off.
Hit second gear. Yeah, it's losing all the pressure. We can try a couple things on it, but that's not really good, honestly. You towed it over, right? You didn't.
No, I drove it here. It drives perfect, dude. It drives perfect.
So what you got to do is you can't be too fast with the shifting.
Yeah.
Are you driving automatic mode?
No, I never drive an automatic
paddle
mode. Yeah, I always paddle it, and it drives great. It's full speed, and it's like nothing's wrong with it once I hold it down and just go.
Right.
It's just getting it to go. You know,
it's losing all the pressure. So when it flashes like that, that's a pump out of pressure. So you can hear the pump running.
Yeah.
Or it's a weak pump, maybe. You know, it could be if it's original pump. It's shit. Some of those things. But let me look at the pressures, and I can watch it and see what happens. But yeah, you're losing all the pressure.
So
normally it's a shift actuator, but we'll check everything and see.
And the shift actuator, is that the big dollar e-gear actuator thing?
There's two pieces to the puzzle, really, two big pieces. The power unit, which is a lot cheaper, and then the shift actuator. Shift actuator is more expensive.
What's that usually?
I'll price it out and see. I don't remember.
I mean,
it varies from
25.
like 6 to 10 grand.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Big number.
Shit, you think that could be it? Because it shifts fine.
That's the whole thing.
I'm
You
gonna
know,
have a
you
heart
can
attack. Oh
nurse
my
it around. Yeah, shift actuator is common. Like we can run some diagnostics on. I can run it through a self-grip, but even just when you hold your foot on the brake and you just grab one gear, it's just activating like a picture, like the shift actuator is like a hydraulic ram.
Yeah.
It kind of moves this way, it twists like your stick shift would be, and then forward and back. So if you've got, if you got one action causing it to lose all the pressure, then the actuator's bad.
Oh shit, that's the worst thing that could.
That's your worst problem, yeah.
That's the worst thing, yeah.
Stick shift. Let's put a stick shift in it.
Yeah. Can you? How much is that?
Probably more, but then there's no more problems. It's funner to drive.
Have you ever done it? Have you guys done it before?
We've done the Ferraris, but I haven't done the Lambo yet.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it can be done. It's the same idea.
Yeah. Shit. Well, I'll pray it's not that. My God, because that's
bad day.
That's for a month and a half owning the car, you know.
Yeah.
Just.
At least you could drive it and nurse it around a little bit. You know, if you can just do that. But let me try it. We can try a bleed on the system. Running the bleed on it. I'm not sure we'll have time today, but for sure Monday we'll get and do that on it. Now you got to pull the actuator off, do the bleed procedure on it, and then put it back on and try it again. Yeah, it's a beautiful car.
It's like perfect, dude. I mean,
These things are bitching. I love them. It's normally rock solid. That's the only one thing you need here. Well, the one thing you think about though is once you replace that, that should be the last time you have to do that.
Yeah.
Because then you'd be a brand new owner of that and you can enjoy it.
But you've seen. I guess it's just I'm trying. I know I'm going to stress out a lot over the weekend. I'm just trying to think. When you look online, it's like the price swings so far on those actuators. Like one guy commented on one of the videos where he had to have his done, and he goes, "I got mine done, $5 grand all in." And I was like, "Okay, that's not horrible." Then I go to another forum, and the guy's like, "Oh, it's $25,000 at the dealership." But the dealership, I called them, and the guy was just nasty on the phone. I mean, I'm not asking you to diagnose it. Can I drive it to you?
Yeah.
You know, but he's like, it's only $900 diagnosis. Of course, I don't care what it costs to diagnose it.
Yeah, but we got to figure out what's wrong with it first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I have a power unit for it in the back already. So if it is a power unit, you'll luck out that way. But let me see. We got to test it first to see what's going on. That's the only way to start.
Well, here you go, man. My wife will be here in a minute, and I'm going to go cry over a burrito. All right, so that does not sound good, everybody. So far, not so good. Hopefully, when he digs into it, it turns out to not be anything super serious. But if it is that actuator, then it's going to be a significant expense. a month and a half into owning this car, and one that I will not forget anytime soon, and slightly damages my whole dream Lamborghini experience, but I planned for it, I can afford it, but I don't like it. So please like, please subscribe, and I'll talk to you in the next video when I find out what's wrong with this thing. Bye, everybody.
My perfect storm, a beautiful catastrophe.